It has been done in the Southwest. I was part of a team about 20 years ago, um, teaching the Fulanis, in Igbora especially, I want to mention, to buy land. We told them, sell us some cattle, own your own land, and then and you have your receipt. Then that land belongs to you and your generation forever. And it was seriously appreciated. And 2 years later, we went back. They conducted me around, gave me a room to sleep, and showed me the school that they had built themselves. And they were they were the happiest people on earth in that axis. And they were, in fact, the issue of clashes disappeared. So I think all stakeholders must put hands together to assist these people to buy land, sell off, teach them, sell us some of your stock, use the money, buy land. Most of us here in Abuja applied for land, bought the land, got receipts. There's no clash between, so the issue of indigent or non-indigent or trespassing or whatever it is would not occur. Other farmers, other classes of farmers in animal agriculture buy their own land. The poultry farmer buys his land, the pig farmer, the fish farmer, and so on. And this is a stage where we have taught our Fulani herdsmen to be. But just then, the guy that has only 5 heads of cattle, can he sell all the 5 heads of cattle to buy a piece of land? It is difficult. But we know if the journey is 100 years, we have started year 1. And steady progress is now being made towards the average Fulani man owning his own land, purchasing his own land. And I think if banks will come in, the private sector has to come in this regard to assist government.
Mr. Oyedeji, there have been panels that have been set up around Jos, the Plateau, and all the crises that have come on there. Recent reach out to retired military officers in the state who are indigents or reside within the state to come together and help sort out the security situation. There have been reports that have been submitted. Do you think a fallback to this report and a reach out to the ex-military men can help solve this situation while we're still working on the ownership of ranches and farmlands?
I think so, because the military men have the experience of weaponry. In those days, when there were clashes, or we hear of cattle rustlers or whatever it is, the weapons that those criminals were carrying were arrows, bows, and machetes. But I saw one clip on China's television, one boy carrying AK-47 on his left shoulder. That is the situation now. But the military, those retired officers, will probably identify routes or channels by which these weapons flow to these guys. The Benue State government, at that meeting, the deputy governor was there and he pleaded, he explained to us that the program, there was a program launched, surrender your weapon and get cash for weapons. So I believe the initiative will work out very well in collaboration with other stakeholders.
But how do you think, I mean, yes, ranches might solve the problem of, the constant clashes, but the bad blood that has, that now exists between both parties, how do you think that can go away?
As I said earlier, the clashes emanated from competition from land resources. There must be cattle ranching and feedlotting, no matter what. That is where Nigeria must end. Because technology can be brought to those people, to those animals, easier than when they are roaming from one place to the other. Now, if more, I agree with you that it's challenging. It's not something that can just be done overnight or within 1 or 2 years. But as I said earlier, if that journey is 100 years, year 2015 has been the year 1 of the awareness of the agreement between the crop farmers and the livestock farmer, the herders, that okay, fine, yes, we will adopt gradually cattle ranching. Because now, when you look at cattle ranching, Nigeria has an advantage. We already have a group of people who do not have to be persuaded to live in the bush. The Fulanis are very there. Nobody needs to persuade them that, oh, look, or tell them that don't be afraid. If you are in the forest, if you put your animals here, make a paddock for them, then you can get feed and so on and so forth. Somebody can reach you anytime he or she wants to give you or render some intervention projects for you. They are already there in the grazing reserves. Government has gazetted many grazing reserves, and there are even gazetted ones at federal, state, and local government levels. So we have an advantage in that those who will do the cattle ranching are there.
I'm not disagreeing with the cattle ranching. Don't get me wrong, Doctor. I'm simply asking, how do we take care of those who, feel hurt, who have lost loved ones in this back and forth that continues to happen on the plateau?
I must confess that, first of all, I must sympathize with all those victims on any side, on both sides of the conflict. It is unfortunate, but to compensate them, I don't think, I must confess, I'm not an expert in that regard to say, hey, look, they shall be compensated this way or that, because you have the responsibility of the state government has its own responsibility. The people are inhabitants of that state in the first instance before they are inhabitants of the entity called Nigeria. The state government will do its own, and I believe some other relief agencies. But in terms of compensation or whatever it is, or insurance, I must confess, I do not really have an opinion for that I think an expert opinion. So I think we need to bring in sociologists.
Aside compensation, do you think that some reconciliation can be done?
Yes, the meeting, the summit we had at Makurdi was in collaboration with the University of Agriculture, Makurdi, and it was a reconciliation meeting. They embraced each other, the crop farmers and the herders, the representatives of the Mieti Cattle Ala Breeders Association. We took group photographs. They were honest. In fact, they laid a lot of complaints that people should sympathize with them because they are being accused of criminal activities, whereas they are even being invaded. They said they were suffering on both sides. But the bulk of those criminals come from outside Nigeria. That was their position. But it will take only them to know those who are the Nigerians inside us and those that were from outside. That it was very difficult for them. So reconciliation is quite possible, is ongoing, and I'm sure will be effected. Latest the first quarter of next year, we will have peace in Plateau State and in other places where there has been violent clashes between crop farmers or between livestock farmers and livestock farmers, and between crop farmers and livestock farmers.
Dr. Oyedele Oyedeji, Registrar CEO, Nigerian Institute of Animal Science, Abuja, many thanks for speaking with us. One fantastic thing you did expose is for them to also invest in such communities, get their own plot of land and see how they can get their own grazing patch, which can also sustain them for so many years. Many thanks for speaking with us this morning.
You are welcome.